Hello Internet! Welcome to Geeks on a Sofa. As the premise describes, we are geeks. You can't really tell, but we're on a sofa. It's comfy, it's lovely. And we're here today to talk to you in a fully spoilered kind of way about the new Man of Steel Superman film. So be warned, if you haven't seen it, or you don't want to know what happened, or you're just crying in a hole, go away now. Go watch me myself on Simsaw talking spoiler free. Gone? You gone? You good? Right, go! John.
Okay, I watched this film twice. The first time I watched it with you guys, and then I needed to make my excuses after we went to the pub to talk about it because I was just so down. And I was wearing this the day afterwards because, yeah, I was in mourning. I felt, in particular, what you said about Superman being, it was a good Superman movie, but like not a great film. What you said in The Sims store, I pretty much agree. But this is spoilers, so let's talk about specifics. I think Superman is an emergency service. He's a very unique emergency service. I didn't see him save people, and I would like to have seen that after the whole debacle with Zod being killed and the whole like cataclysmic of people like getting killed. He should have gone around, saved a few cats, saved a few people. I didn't see that. I wish I did.
Well, you know, you want to see him save a few cats, do some good Boy Scout things, ignoring the fact that thousands of people have just lost their lives as most of New York has just been flattened. That was the bit I found most upsetting about it. Yes, he's fighting a superpowered villain who doesn't care about killing people. Superman didn't seem to give a rat's shiny ass about killing people because he was destroying buildings and blowing shit up and not wearing any pants.
Just the people he didn't care about saving in that specific scenario just didn't seem to care about anything. I mean, okay, cards on the table, I haven't read any DC, but I've watched the previous Superman movies, and I've watched even Smallville, which is, you know, kind of crap.
Superman-y.
Yeah, but they do a good job of establishing Clark. There was no Clark. It just, like, most of the movie just didn't even seem like a lonely god or whatever. It just seemed he can be bothered. And when you don't establish the character enough to make him sympathetic or relatable or give him something, it's just, what's the point otherwise? It's just like a guy who can't be defeated.
It's like I said, that's the problem with cutting out all the formative years. We had the alien focused stuff, we had some flashbacks, but by which point he's already, you know, grown a beard and become a fisherman. So we don't really see any change from that point. We just get clarification, so yeah, we don't really feel for him. We don't really care about him. I mean, yes, okay, he's Superman. He stands alone. He's apparently Jesus. Yes, we got it, Zack Snyder.
No, are you saying there was some religious imagery there?
My God,
I didn't get it.
Oh, I'm crucified out of a spaceship.
I have a theory relating to what you said, Sophia, about him being quite wooden. Let's say you're a really good actor and you've been turned down for getting the James Bond role in Casino Royale. You get turned down for doing, what was it, Twilight he was supposed to be in. Right, he wasn't going to be Edward.
Imagine that beard in Twilight.
All right, so he gets turned down twice for that. And then he goes for Superman Returns. Brandon Routh gets that sort of way. He kind of gets saved. But he gets basically turned down for all these major roles. At some point, he gets basically the chance to be in Man of Steel. What do you do when you turn up on set? You do everything that the director asks. And who's asking him to emote? Which director have we got in the seat?
I'm not blaming the actor necessarily.
No, this is my own thing. Yeah. Basically, Zack Snyder is not a character actor.
Character director. No, I absolutely agree.
So if they had someone else trying to elicit that kind of emotion from him, I honestly think that, this is the positive bit now, I think that Man of Steel 2, he will fucking go for it. He will not give a damn about what he thinks everyone wants from him. He's thinking, right, I've been in that big movie. I've got all these roles coming in. Presumably he'll get other roles in between those two movies. And he will give us a much more heartfelt Superman.
Do you know what I have a problem with this argument? It's not that I disagree, but also, who gives a shit? Because when I go and see a movie, I don't want to be thinking about the actor's many job disappointments, because, you know, nobody else goes through that. Poor actors. I don't want to be thinking about the shit director. I want to be immersed in the story, and I wasn't in that. I was too busy laughing my ass off.
I get the explanation. I also agree with that. I don't want to be, waiting for the sequel to be, vindicated by choices. I absolutely think for something with so much money and so much emphasis on special effects, they needed to get someone with, character direction or something to actually, control these people. Though, again, you have to wonder how much stuff hit the editing room floor just because the first half was so tight. Everything was as bare minimum. We saw bang, Krypton, bang, beard, chest hair, bang, traveling, finding the Fortress of Solitude spaceship, bang, super suit, and then Zod and big fighting, and that was our second half. And so much time and so much more luxury of shot was given to the action sequences, and so little was given to the character development. So I wonder how much was filmed and not put in.
I think that you're right, Sophia. You shouldn't have to be given any excuses. But now that we know what the backstory is, I think we can use that as a scientific way to figure out what we got. I also think that Superman is someone who is stoical. He's not supposed to be someone that shows the cracks to the public, that he's actually talking to and reacting with. But I've seen enough of that in the comics, and I've seen him not necessarily know what to do in the cartoons. If we saw more of that, like we did with, say, Bruce Wayne and, say, Batman Begins, if we saw him a little bit more, maybe not necessarily being on the right page of everybody behind the scenes, then we could have really identified with him more. We would have seen.
I don't want to see him break down and cry. I don't want to see him kind of, the raw emotion side. I just needed to see motivation behind him.
Not just that, when you took out all the... you take out the origin, the Kents, and being in Kansas, and because, that's real America, by the way. How bullshit was that? But, at least give us some Lois and Clark stuff, which was interesting. That just did a disservice to the character of Clark, did a disservice to the character of Lois. She had more interaction and chemistry with Jor-El, or as I like to refer to him, Daddy Ex Machina, because, just like, I'm just going to show up and, inexplicably explain everything.
Oh, that was a lot of my issues with plot flaws about,
The plot.
Blaniac Jor-El knowing what was going on when he was not around.
I've got that in my little text thing here. Jor-El knows everything. He is God. What's going on there? You shouldn't have known all this.
The one, say, character motivation-wise, the one character that I understood and thought made sense was Zod. Just because his character motivations were so simple and so pure. He was defending a dying planet. The planet died. He had nothing to defend anymore, so he would avenge it.
Also, he was predestined to do that.
Yeah,
anyway, which was interesting what they did with Krypton. I enjoyed the stuff in Krypton, even though it felt like a different movie. I enjoyed it was properly alien. There was a moment of dragons?
Yeah, that was wonderful. I loved Krypton.
And apparently that's from the comics. Stephen, if you're watching, told me that was from the comics.
Thanks, Stephen.
As someone who didn't know that, I just went, I appear to be watching Dune, The Matrix, Avatar, and with a bit of kind of Prometheus-y alien stuff with the Geiger-inspired technology and stuff. Again, it looked really cool. Apart from shaky cam. Why was there to have someone with Parkinson's filming every single scene, even when it was somebody standing still, and it was still wobbling all over the place?
Combination with the 3D, I had to take off the glasses at several points because my eyes were tearing up, and I was like, guys, I'm not crying about how shit this movie is. I'm just
I think they wanted a human story, which explains a lot of the cinema verite kind of aspect of it. But I think one of my main issues with it being used is that they had a very close, I don't know what the technical term is, but I think there could have been more wide angles because sometimes you didn't quite know what was going on in a bad way. When Metropolis is falling apart, you don't know if it's actually the Daily Planet building falling on them or if it's the random building. I think that's what they're trying to connotate.
So much of that was 9/11 cultural pain still resonating through so much cinema. That's why, like I say, I've seen New York get flattened so many times with the edge of San Francisco in Star Trek Into Darkness. But still, buildings falling over, people getting caught in wreckage, still gets dropped into everything. All I had in my head all the way to the entire thing was a line from, I think I'm abridging a line from South Park, when they go, what's it, another 9/11? No, it's 9/11 times 1,000. What? 911,000? Yes, you're right. Because that's what it was. It was building falling over after building falling over after person trapped in the rubbish. Even the kind of like waves of dust coming down the street are straight out of the eyewitness reports from them. And sorry, Americans, if you're watching, I don't want to besmirch that. but it just resonates through all of the disaster films now, and that's once you see it, you can't unsee it, and I'm sorry, it's dull. I want to see something else now.
It's an emotional thing for them, and obviously it's an emotional thing, but they're going to keep on having this spin out. It's like us with World War II. I mean, if we don't have it in films, we have it in documentaries constantly. So I think in a way, maybe it's a way of us dealing with what's happened. I mean, it's a hectic thing if you really think about it. All these people dying,
as they did in between that in wars and tsunamis and everything that, but it doesn't matter because they weren't Americans.
Well,
oh God, I'm gonna get flamed, aren't I? Hi.
I mean, that's the thing. We just see it so often now. But I mean, also the fact that it was evil, scary guy knocking over buildings being saved by Super Jesus No Pants Man.
On that note, I had a massive issue at one point in the movie when that Zod's second in command, I don't remember her name, she was badass.
Not Ophelia, but something like that.
So at one point she gives that speech about how evolution always wins, and then you have the super unsubtle there's always been Jesus metaphors, and with the Superman is God and whatever. And they even did that in Smallville quite a bit. But when he's like actually standing in front of the Jesus mural, it's like, yes, we get it. But then he defeats them. So is there like some secret fundy message of, no pants Jesus defeats evolution?
But that was an irony of that statement as well. Evolution always wins, spoken as the vat-born warrior designed to
genetically
fight.
Engineered, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, just so much of the dialogue just didn't make sense. The script felt so rushed and uncertain. As I said, again, in Simsaw, it knew what it wanted to not be, but not what it wanted to be. I mean, that line that young Clark delivers of, "The world, Mom, it's just too big." Who the hell says that? I mean, yes, okay, so few of us are kind of superpowered 8-year-olds, but still, it just so much of it felt so unnatural and so forced, from the pseudoscience to the explanation to the silly one-liners. I mean, to Lois after, "Oh, thank you for saving me from dying," snogging Superman. But just the first thing she says is, "Oh well, it's all going to go downhill from here." If I were No Pants Jesus, I'd be flying away at that point. Now it's just like, oh, okay, love, sorry about that. Anyway, I'm off on a rant, but
I thought, you see how patient I was. Just
I know,
let him do it.
Catch on.
I'd like to think they're going to promote the idea that you have to use your ingenuity before you use brawn. And they could have done that, I think, with Jor-El fighting Zod. I know they want him to win so they could eventually shoot Kal into space. But technically speaking, I think Zod should have been able to overpower him. And then maybe Jor-El beats him using his technology. I mean, there's enough of that stuff like lying about. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of the brain.
I mean,
because then you would not only be promoting a really good message, but you'll be keeping with your internal logic of the script. Zod genetically made to win in any kind of battle situation. He's fighting a fucking scientist. So how does he lose? I don't quite get that.
It's
that's a lot of Superman stuff as well. That's a trope from Superman, isn't it? You can't just punch things to win. He has to think, and when he doesn't, it goes wrong. So yeah, they missed that element of it as well. I mean, again, maybe it'll come back, but
who knows? On a positive vein, I really did like the stuff regarding Krypton. I like the dragon aspect of it, and I thought that they actually did think about what it would be like to live on this planet, and Lara dying alone was quite somber, because, wow, it's like, I haven't seen this in the Superman mythos before. No. It's good they used the opportunity to put that in there.
I like the nuance of her character as well, that almost all the way through, even though, her husband, who she loves and respects, is saying this thing's going to happen. Almost when Krypton was finally destroyed, it was kind of like, oh yeah, he was right, wasn't he? Oh well. That was a kind of like a side of it that she was going on out of pure trust and respect, but didn't really believe it until it was a bit too late.
Yeah,
which reflects in the rest of them as well. I mean, I'd like to see an entire film set in that style on Krypton, as well as an entire buddy cop film, as you say, with Lois and Daddy Ex Machina. I love that.
Can I just ask you this question before we get to a close? Do you think Jor-El was supposed to be Superman's Alfred?
My surprise favourite actor and character in this was Russell Crowe's Jor-El, just because not only was he kick-ass when he was Jor-El scientist father man. But when he came back as essentially, Brainiac version, he was cold and neutral and a lot calmer, and there was a differentiation between there. I mean, yeah, he was the Alfred, but he was also, the MacGuffin. He was driving everything along. It was his fault that Zod came, but he was also giving Clark the information. He gave him the suit, for God's sake.
More interesting than Clark. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not supposed to relate more to Jor-El than Clark.
Jor-El had, he decided things.
He had charisma, first of all. I'm sorry, but he did.
Sophie is absolutely correct. I think the way that Russell Crowe read his script was almost like he
wrote it.
Because he might as well have written it. He's a better actor. I think he's obviously been around for quite some time, so he's going to take a few liberties with what he's been given to him. Whereas Henry Cavill, I honestly think froze. I mean, that moment where Pa Kent dies and we cut to Clark saying, it was at that moment that I realized that my father was right. It was so cheesy. We actually all looked at each other. We started laughing. I thought, this is not the film. This is a joke. It's a parody of it.
I'd like to just one moment pause on that scene where he lets his Costner, Daddy, die.
Happy Costner.
That was okay. If anyone has seen that side Super Dickory where they take all vintage Superman, Superman covers where he's being a dick, basically. That was a pure. I mean, yes, it's explained and whatever, but it's like First, his dad was like, "Yeah, you should have let those kids drown." But doggy. I love dogs. I hate kids, but yeah. and then Daddy, I guess he'll die. I mean, even Clark Kent from Smallville would have been like, "Yeah, I just tripped and fell, adrenaline, whatever," and he just dies. And he's telling that story to Lois, and I just kept expecting him to go what a douche.
There you
go. What was that?
Sophia loves dogs, hates kids, but she doesn't actually represent the views of this channel. I think, are we done?
I think we're done. I think,
Death roll kids.
But not dogs.
Overall, it looked fantastic. It just the script needed about another, year in the oven before this was put together. But again, I feel like it was pushed forward Warner DC's,
agenda.
The, oh God, Marvel's making money agenda. So we're going to follow up at some point with our worries, hopes, and expectations of the upcoming possible Justice League arc. Because I'll believe it when I see it personally. But anyway, that's for another time. And thank you for joining us. If you've got a comment about anything we've said, let us know down below. And we look forward to hearing your thoughts on it. Until next time, I'm Sim.
I'm Sophia.
I'm John.
And this is Geeks on the Sofa.
Bye.
Bye.